We've been talking about these pride parades, right? And there'll be people on the left say, oh my gosh, this is freedom of expression and whatnot, and then, consenting adults and all that. And then you look at the actual photos and video, and it's not consenting. It's adults who are naked on bicycles and the rest of it, showing off genitalia to kids, which in a normal world is against the law, or at least last I...
There used to be something called public decency,
right,
where you had to keep your clothes on in public.
Right.
Has that gone out the window? Do we not have that?
We thought we'd bring in Carolyn Ryan because we knew that she would take great care with this story. Obviously, it's the breakfast time, and you and I talked about this off the air, that we want to handle this as tastefully as possible. But this is happening, Carolyn, as you know, as you dug into the story. This is happening in cities like Seattle, and there are kids on the side of the road for these parades watching these adults acting ridiculous. And so good morning to you. What did you find as you dug into this story?
Yeah, good morning. As we all know, June is so-called Pride Month, right? And it is certainly ending with a bang. We have seen a dramatic escalation in lewd behavior at these Pride events all across the country. And with the parades in particular, there have been increasingly becoming controversial because several events in mostly Democrat-run cities have featured nudity and graphic depictions of sexual acts in full display of children. So let's start in Seattle this past weekend. A group of grown men joined the parade riding bicycles while nude. And you can see your screen there. Almost the entire screen is blurred out. That's because all of those people behind that blur are naked. Their genitalia on full display, riding past crowds filled with children and families. As if that wasn't bad enough, after the parade, a group of adult men and women could be seen washing off at a town fountain where children were among those playing in the water. Any other day, any other time, these individuals would be arrested for indecent exposure and quite possibly a slew of other potential crimes. But apparently in Seattle, this is now acceptable if it's done under the guise of pride. Prominent Democrats, by the way, they were in attendance at this Seattle parade. And as far as we can tell, none of them have responded to the incident. Progressive U.S. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal was there. She tweeted earlier this month, quote, "Seattle friends, I'll be marching in the 49th annual Seattle Pride Parade on June 25. I hope you'll join me. This is one of my favorite events of the year," she wrote. Then you've got Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell. He tweeted after the event, saying, quote, "It was great to feel the love, energy, and sunshine at today's Pride Parade. We must send a clear message to our LGBTQIA plus community. We see you, we support you, and you belong here." Well, Mr. Mayor, I believe most people got that message loud and clear, because if you ever had any doubt about the real agenda with these stunts, here's video from a Pride event in New York on Friday where a group of people marched through the East Village chanting, quote, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children."
We're here, we're queer, we're not going shopping. We're here, we're queer, we're not going shopping. We're here.
And the backlash to all of this growing online, conservative commentator Liz Wheeler taking to Twitter to comment on the video saying, quote, "Queer theory was never about equality under the law or tolerance for alternative lifestyles. It was always about the sexualization of children, disturbed sexual fetishes, and destroying liberty by forcing you to participate." And guys, we could go on and show you countless more examples of this type of criminal behavior from all across the country. There was nudity on display in Minneapolis this past weekend as well. People in the crowd were topless. There was a man twerking in his underwear in front of children in Los Angeles earlier this month. There were people marching in leather bondage gear, promoting sadomasochism and other disturbing sexual fetishes. So there's no question this movement is becoming increasingly emboldened. And, businesses, politicians, even news media companies are really going to have to start answering for their participation in these events. The station that I used to work for here in Atlanta, CBS 46, is a primary sponsor of the Atlanta Pride Parade. And there was no controversy that I heard of specifically out of Atlanta this year. But in general, attached to your support, they're forcing anchors and reporters to go and they do a big production, they broadcast live. Some people told me, quietly, independently, they're not comfortable with that, but they feel forced to be there and to be associated with these events, and they're going to have to start answering for that.
No doubt.
Yeah, and hopefully those people will speak up and say, we're uncomfortable, and maybe there's strength in numbers. Maybe we need more people to come forward and say, no, this is not okay.
Well, to your point, one person, during your report, I was looking at our live chat on Getter, and one person after another was like, this is disgusting. These people are sick. Archangel 4031, they're sick SOBs, and they're enraging me as you watch that with children. And I guess my question for both of you would be, what I'm really stunned by is when you read that from the mayor, who I don't know anything about. I'm assuming he's a Democrat in Seattle, who actually has the gall to write that the mayor felt the love and sunshine. And how could you turn your head to the nudity in front of the children? Like, why can't you have a reasonable position saying, I'm all for free expression, but there were children there at the parade and we need common decency as the mayor? And like, to your other question, are there not local laws and ordinances in cities like Seattle about nudity, about public decency? I'll just put it out there.
Well, yeah, and he also tweeted that they had several city employees in attendance, and so if you read through that thread where the comments under his tweet, people started saying, "Well, was law enforcement there? Was police officers there?"
Right.
And he really got blown up on the comment section there of his tweet. People really calling him out for that. But there's a whole lot of attention on the people, rightfully so, who are marching in the parades, but at some point there has to be some attention and pressure put on the parents who are bringing their children willingly to these events, and starting to see hopefully some shame there, because they're exposing their children to this material that it seems criminal. I don't know any other way to say it.
You're
Well, I feel like, and their family members maybe need to say something to them. Like, I don't know, if you're the mother of, a grandchild that's being brought to one of these events, like, sit your kid down and, I don't know, and talk to them.
One would assume
How
some
you
of those
disagree.
Some of those parents are posting on social media, and you're right. Friends and family should be saying, hey, is this
calling
appropriate?
them out, yeah.
Absolutely. Carolyn Ryan, we knew you'd do a great job, as always. Appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow morning.